Gamestork, delivering news, reviews, and playthroughs like a newborn baby.
Hey, what's up guys? This is Jeff from Gamestork, and today I wanted to share with you some of my realistic expectations for E3, and also prepare you for what E3 may bring, specifically for the Nintendo Switch. Now, just to start out, I think that Sony is going to have a fantastic E3 this year. They obviously have a lot of floor space booked, and there are going to be a lot of titles announced. I believe that Xbox coming with the Scorpio, their big, especially since Scalebound has been canceled, their big emphasis is going to be trying to drive third parties onto their own console, and also tell you and explain to you and show you why their experience is the best when playing the same exact games that you may get on the PlayStation 4 even earlier. But most importantly, now that those two are out of the way, let's discuss a little bit of the Nintendo Switch and what we should be expecting going into E3. Now, I do say, I'm always guilty of this being a Nintendo fanboy, right? Because, I'm a Nintendo fanboy and I'm a Sony fanboy, and I also love the Xbox. Whatever system and whatever developer is giving me great games to play, that's who I like. And there are a lot of those right now. I love gaming. I love competition between systems because it gives us better games and it gives us better quality content and consoles and all that stuff. So, although I am a Nintendo fan and a Sony fan and all, a fanboy really of everyone, I tend to lean towards Nintendo because the games, they resonate with me all the way from my childhood. They're a lot of fun. I love what Nintendo does, and I think they're the pioneers in the industry today. So, Nintendo is my favorite system. It's my favorite console due to its first parties and also their vision, which a lot of people see as a weird, old-fashioned Japanese vision, but I love it. It's okay. Anyway, so going into E3 this year, we have to be careful not to set our expectations too high. Now, when the Nintendo Switch was coming, I have to admit I fell into the hype, and I set my expectations really, really high. So high that this thing was going to outperform a PS4 when it came out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why wouldn't it? And this and that. Yeah, and I get it. But little did I know, or little did I really take into account the fact that no handheld device has even come close. So, thinking about the fact that this was a handheld device coming, I just never put together, well, of course it's not going to be that powerful because it's essentially a tablet with controllers. However, the Nintendo Switch is the most powerful handheld device on the market by far, period. So in that aspect, it's extremely impressive that they've done what they've done with what they've done. And if you don't have a Nintendo Switch and you haven't played the Nintendo Switch, then obviously you haven't seen the magic, because reading about it and reading what it does and actually walking forward and picking this thing up out of the dock and seeing your favorite game like Breath of the Wild literally pop onto that screen and realizing that the full experience is available to you wherever you go. It's just something else when you experience that for yourself, no matter how many times you hear it said. It's really great, and you have to experience it in order to understand. Now, all that being said, going into E3, we know that this is going to be a software-based announcement set, like, period. They might have a few peripherals, maybe a few different color Joy-Cons and stuff, but I don't really think that they're going to waste their time with that. I think the big thing is they're going to announce their online functionality. They're going to talk about the virtual console, which is extremely important to a lot of people. And I imagine that's going to launch alongside the online functionality due to the fact that you'll get that one game per month. And the other thing is titles. Now, Nintendo has gone into this console, to the Nintendo Switch, with the understanding that third parties are taking the wait and see approach. Now, the wait and see approach simply means they're going to wait and look at the sales, and if the sales go good, then they'll develop for the system. The problem is that this X1 chip that's in there, as great as it is, which they say it's modified, but for all intents and purposes, it looks the exact same, with the performance kind of tweaked a little bit towards Nintendo, which improves the output of the gaming device. A lot of specifics I'd rather just not go into right now. But this device just simply can't run some of the larger games, and that's, to be realistic, that's what we need to see. Now, there are a lot of large games like Dark Souls 3, which are running on an engine called Yebus 3, and this one could run. This one absolutely could run, and Skyrim obviously could run. Dragon Age could run. Now, there are a lot of them that really would do very well on the system. And it's hard to tell because of how these games are published, which ones to expect and which ones not to expect. Now, I think it's a little unrealistic to expect a game that is 100 gigs in size to come to the Switch. I just don't see it. Now, my Switch is sitting with a 200 gig memory card on the inside, so I have expanded the memory so that I can go all digital. However, as of right now, this is something that I just don't see happening. I don't see it coming. Not to question the fact of can this or can this not run, but I just don't see like Call of Duty and some of the larger games coming over. Now, what's very important to me is the fact that FIFA is coming to this console, and we already know that, and I'm sure they're going to talk a little bit more about this. But EA should have a very large involvement with the Nintendo Switch, especially seeing the fact that in the first month, sales hit 2.4 million, roughly. And they are still selling out off the shelves. Now, the third month of sales, obviously, is always the testing month, and that's where it's going to show everybody. But, you know, Nintendo is trickling out these games. They have ARMS coming. They have Splatoon 2 coming month after month. And then at E3, we're going to get the rest of the year, one big title per month from them, plus ports. And there are a lot of great ports that everyone that owns a Switch probably didn't play because not a lot of people on the Wii U, and these are fantastic titles. So you can expect to see ports, but you can expect to see EA show some support to Nintendo. I think after the strong first month, they're going to continue to test the waters with their FIFA sales, and if FIFA sells well, then I believe that they'll bring Madden and a lot of other franchises over. Now, the fact that Mass Effect ran on the Wii U has proved that this new Mass Effect Andromeda could also run on the Switch. That would be amazing. Although it's a different development team, that's one game that just comes to mind that I believe could run, but they're going to have to fix issues first, and they'll probably have to do a lot of things to get it to fit on the console. As far as other big games, I see a lot of JRPGs coming. I think that we know that Square Enix is selling out. I'm really hopeful for Kingdom Hearts. As of right now, I'm not sure about licensing. I really haven't done a lot of research on Kingdom Hearts 3 and if it's set, like if Sony has any investments there to make that a first party only title, like a PS4 only title. If Kingdom Hearts does come to the Switch, that will be mind-blowingly epic. There's also a lot, we know Octopath Traveler's coming for sure, and Dragon Quest should hopefully be announced for the Switch as well, and that's Dragon Quest, the online MMO, which is 10, and then also 11. We know those are coming out in Japan on the Nintendo Switch at some point. We just don't know when. So hopefully they'll show a lot of support. As far as other third parties, I see instead of the big titles, I just think that these publishers like Ubisoft, for instance, I don't know that they're going to bring things like Watch Dogs. What I do believe though is that they're going to create creative and specifically new Nintendo specific, however you want to word that, IPs. Like there is a rumor and has been circulating that there's a new Mario RPG that have Rabbids in them, and Ubisoft is currently creating this. Now this was kind of proved by the fact that when Ubisoft released a video that showed this guy walking through their office some time ago about the history of their gaming, there were literally Mario figures who looked like Rabbids up on a shelf behind this wall. And hopefully I can find that picture and put it here for you. And if not, I'm sorry, you can try to find it. But there's a lot of evidence to this. And if this is one of those, and it's a new Super Mario RPG that's made out there, but that's huge, and I think it's great. There's nothing wrong with these companies making games that are specific for Nintendo or specific for the system. The fact is, it's not so much what the game is, but the quality of the game. If they're making good games, even though they may be different, I'll be happy with that. You know, most people are complaining about the fact that so far we have in the first month Nintendo first parties and then Nindies. Okay, there's like, oh yes, this indie game, blah blah blah. Yeah, who cares? But the fact is those indies that have come out on the system are immaculate. They're really, really, really good. So good that they're as good as first party games for the most part. Now, there are some huge adventure games I'd love to see come, and I hope that they do. But, if they don't, I think that Nintendo has a solid plan and a solid lineup. The thing is at E3, you can expect Nintendo to bring out the big guns, and they're going to have a lot of third-party developers on that stage. Now, they may not be saying, oh, yes, Call of Duty's coming, but they will be saying, this game is coming from this developer, and this game is coming from this developer, and we're creating this game specifically for Nintendo, and specifically for the concept of this console, and things of that nature. And I really believe that can happen. I'm curious about the new Madden. Look, I'm a huge Madden fan. I love playing Madden, and I would love to see it on the Switch. My issue is the Frostbite engine. This is the year that they're switching, so I can't tell you. I have no idea if that, at this point, without researching, if that could run on the Switch. I hope that it can, but I don't know. I'm not the individual to tell you that at this time. My hope is that FIFA sells well and Madden comes out as well on the Switch. There are a ton of games we can hope for. And the reality is when you get a Switch and you begin playing it, then this thing happens. Like it happened with me with Persona 5. And like I'm still playing Persona 5. I'm like 40 hours in and I feel like I'm just getting started. It's crazy. It's like Breath of the Wild all over again, except completely different, but kind of similarly addictive. I don't know. It's a completely different experience. But it's one of those games where when you begin playing it, you're like, I really wish this was on my Switch. I wish I could take this to my in-laws' house. I wish I could travel with this. I wish this was on this console. And so, now we can count out the fact that Persona 5 is never going to come to the Switch because let's not get our hopes up because the developer said there's zero chance of that. However, games like Persona 4, as you've seen in a prior video, I really expect that to come and be ported because it was already on the Vita and it would be an easy port with the architecture of the Nintendo Switch. Now, hopefully there are a lot of a good array of sports games, JRPGs, American RPGs, and things like that to come. I would love to see ports of the Dragon Quest series. I would love to see ports of the Dragon Age series, and a ton of stuff. Fallout specifically. What I do know is that there will be titles at this show, specifically first-party titles, and I haven't even talked about those. I've been talking about the third-party. As far as first party is concerned, Nintendo understands that third-party developers are taking a wait-and-see approach, and I said this earlier. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to make sure that every month they have something, that every month they have a big title that's going to sell consoles. So what am I expecting? I'm expecting them at E3 to talk about Super Smash Bros. That's going to come to this system. Then I'm expecting them to talk about the new Pikmin game that's not revealed yet, that we know is in development. Then I expect them to talk about ports, other ports, all kinds of ports. Everything from Mario Maker, however they're going to work that out, to maybe there's new Super Mario Brothers or something like that. Tons of ports that are going to come out that are going to be fillers. But then there's a big one, and I expect this. I hope for this. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm calling out to Nintendo that if they ever heard the please, Lord, Nintendo, just listen to us fans. Metroid Prime. There will be a new adventure Metroid Prime game. This is my huge prediction. I'm really hoping for this. There has to be. Their entire fan base has been crying out for this game for a super long time. I mean, constantly. At every outing they have, at every chance they get to connect with audiences, they've been begging for this game. And there are certain developers who have been kind of off the grid for years, about 3 years to be specific, and there's a few possibilities on who could be developing this game, but I do know that it's got to be coming. I don't know if we'll get a teaser or what, but they're at least going to tell us that this thing is in development. There's also a ton of untapped potential with Nintendo IPs for the Switch. This system is groundbreaking, and I'm really excited about the fact that every month we're going to be able to count on a large game because they're using the trickle effect for their sales, which is they're going to trickle out their titles one per month, and it's going to be really, really good. So, just to close out this little discussion with myself here, with you, we need to not set our expectation too high. Don't expect the craziest, largest third-party title available right now to come out on the Nintendo Switch immediately, because even though they had a really good first month, these companies are probably still going to wait, and probably after E3 they're going to be talking about big IPs coming. Now I know that Nintendo's, they're going to have third parties at their event, and their event will boost sales, and it will boost everything because they're doing it right this time. Their advertisement, their plan, everything is right. It's all on point for the Nintendo Switch, and I really have high hopes for the way that they're doing this. I'm just saying, don't expect Red Dead Redemption 2 on the console to be announced, because it's not going to happen right now. It's not. I believe that in probably 2018, maybe early 2019, we may see a revision of the Nintendo Switch, just like the 3DS did with the new Nintendo 3DS, that we'll see a Switch that's more powerful with the X2 chip, which it's not named X2, but just for the intents and purposes of this chip being created, and it can match right at what the PS4 is. So we'll have a Nintendo Switch that has the power of the PS4, and at that point we might see things ported or released. But as of right now, we're going to be looking at specifically catered games to the Nintendo Switch from third parties. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I think it's great. As long as the content is good, I'm fine with it. Now, the thing is, these third-party developers need to realize that once Nintendo's sales just keep going and everything's sold out, that they need to get their games on this console, because people want to play on the go. And the fact is this concept is groundbreaking, that you can take your console with you. And this is all everyone who's bought a Switch at this point understands this without a shadow of a doubt, that they just want to play everything on the Switch from now on, and they want to be able to take it with them. Now, if it was a Sony's system that released and it was the same exact thing and they copied, whatever. That's it's the concept that has sold people, and that's what they want to do. They want to have the option to put it on their TV. They want to have the option to carry it with them, and I believe that that's the future direction. So I doubt anybody else is going to immediately copy this. Hopefully not. I'd be surprised to see Sony stand up and be like, "Oh, it's the Vita 2," But I don't believe that's going to happen. But Nintendo, I think they're doing this right. I think they're going in the right direction, and I have high expectations. But as far as the third-party support, I do not have the highest of expectations. I think that this E3 will be first-party heavy with third-party support, but it's going to be games that cater specifically to the capabilities of the Nintendo Switch, like that Rabbids Mario RPG crossover. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening. I hope it's been informative for you. This is just what I expect. Don't take it as gospel. If your opinions are a little bit different, let me know below. Let me know what you expect or what you're hoping for that. Do you, like me, wish with everything in your being that there'd be a new Metroid Prime adventure game that's kind of open air like Zelda? Don't you think that would be the greatest thing that's ever happened? Anywho, if you enjoy what you're listening to and you like the channel, please like and subscribe. This is the best way that you can help, is to subscribe and keep up to date with all my video releases. I love making these. I'm going to continue to make these, and I certainly appreciate you guys watching. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.